Period. Period, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Is the palette good for beginners? Jessica wants to know. Yes. That's why I wanted to play with this palette because I felt like if I played with a palette that had greens and blues, it might be a little overwhelming in understanding how to place that on the eye and understanding what neutrals like go with it. So I think this is going to be a really good palette for beginners because it has all those, it's all like natural tones that you'll see in that can be pulled out of skin, if that makes sense. Um, yes, you can pull green out of skin. You can pull olive in a sense, like an olivey camo colored eyeshadow would be really pretty. But some people might be a little bit scared and they're like, oh, I don't know. This will let you really play with color because this damask right here, I'm telling you, like, if I didn't do this one, I would almost want to do this. Okay, imagine this eyeshadow, right? Just bold, bold. I would almost do it as like a liner, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't even carry it. This one, I wanted to do an all over the eye. So you're gonna see me carry it into the lower lash line. But this, I would do like a liner little moment of just the shadow, a lash, and just like a delicious nude lip. Then you can go into fall. So you see this like very plum shade. You can be mixing it in with the browns. You can smoke something out without being scared to smoke something out with black. I feel like a black eyeshadow can be very scary and intimidating at first. So the fact that this is like a very cool tone brown, it's going to allow you to really create those really like sexy smoky eyes without being scared to do it. So that's why I think it's perfect for beginners. And then it has like the perfect shimmers that will accent all the other shades in there. So if you want to keep it matte, if you want to keep the shimmer, you can really play with this. Okay, so I think I want to carry it into the lower lash line. Look at that. Oh. This pigment is insane on this shade. I almost want to use it as blush. It's so beautiful. I might actually use it as blush just to be like an extra beauty guru, you know? You know how like beauty gurus will sometimes be like, you can color correct with red lipstick. And it's like, really? Like, I have a color corrector. It's fine. But honestly, like sometimes certain eyeshadows, like you use it as blush because it matches the eyeshadow and it'll complement it really well. I think I would have to like dig through my blushes and be like, okay, which is the same undertone as this coral, you know? Because coral can come in like different shades. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, I think I'm gonna use the eyeshadow as a blush. I think that'd be so pretty, right? And then I think, oh, okay, now I'm thinking, do I want to do like a gold pop of shimmer on the inner eye? See, this is what. Oh. See, but that's a good thing. Like an eyeshadow palette that's making you like want to play and question, like, oh, should I use this one here or should I use this one here? Not something that like, wait, how do I even use this? I want to now make the eye a little bigger. So I focused a lot more pigment here in making it bigger. Because I have little eyes. You see what I mean? That shade is so beautiful. I don't want the lighting to like mess it up, but like, oh. Agree, Casa. Always nervous wearing a red, but looks so good on you. Thank you. Well, this is definitely a coral. Okay, so don't be too scared of it. As long as you do a coral, like, and you know how like you might be like, oh, I don't know if it'll look good on me. Just wear your blush. Sometimes like try the blush on the eye, and you might be like, oh, that actually does look really pretty. You'll see. At the end, once I pop on a lash, that's gonna be so pretty. Like, see, no shadow. Okay, so now we're going back in with the fluffy side, and we're gonna go into apricot without going into the Coast to Mesa shade, just keeping it very warm. I want it to look like a sunset. I know, and this is the shadow that I am carrying a little bit more out and helping, in a sense, give the cat eye effect without giving the cat eye effect, you know? It's all about placement. Like the other day I was looking at Kylie Jenner. She went to this like red carpet. My friend did her hair and my other friend did her makeup. And I was looking at the makeup and I'm like, wow, it's like if you look at the outer corner, you're going to notice that there's so many different colors being layered to create this illusion of a shadow being like this pulling effect. without having to put like black liner. You know, does that make sense? So it's always like about placement of shades, because you might think, oh, this is just like a light little tan shade. Like, what is that going to do? It's going to help pull the eye a little without having to like commit to putting on a liner. Do you see how it's like pulling the eye already? Like, it's just making the eye more like, So then we're going to go in with the packing brush, the packing side, and we're going to go into a hybrid, that coral shade. And we're just going to start packing it. Yeah, how do they do that? It's such an art. It really is. And I think one cool thing about makeup is study like art and shading and gradients. That's the only thing you really need to study, because I remember I took an art class in high school and I got really obsessed with shading. So we would draw a circle and we would create the shading effect that made it look like 3D. And I understood, like, okay, lighting. You have to understand lighting when it comes to shading, as well as gradient, which is the blending of it. If you can understand those two things, I promise you, when it comes to makeup, you're gonna be winning. Winning. It's helped me so much when it comes to like creating eyeshadow looks, with contouring my face, with finding like where's the perfect place to put the contour, where's the perfect place to put the blush, where's the perfect place to put the highlight, because it's such a limited space, and like being a couple centimeters off, you're like, that looks off. So if you place it just right, it can pull up the face. If you place it ever so slightly wrong, it can kind of like pull down the face. Okay, and the last one, I brought it in a little bit higher here. And you can keep going back and forth, because this eye is a little bit more hooded than this eye. Yeah, I usually start off with my left eye. I totally forgot about them. I forgot I had hooded eyes. Oh, and then just a little bit of the coast to my side. Blending that all together nicely. And then once you understand like gradients and lighting, then you can kind of start to understand color theory, which is just like understanding what colors go well with each other, because there could be so many different shades of brown, because there's so many different undertones, different levels of reds in it, different levels of blues in it, as well as rose. Like you can have a more purple rose, you can have a more peachy rose, more red rose, more orange rose. There's so many different gradients and shades. So keep that in mind. If you want to like learn more about makeup in the art way, that will help you so much. And you can probably watch a YouTube video about it, because I feel like a lot of beauty gurus don't explain that part of it. Like, how do you use how it's blended right? It's like, oh no, it's this one right here. See it? It's like ever so slightly. Oh, so pretty. Oh my god, I see little hearts. How many brushes do you use? Honestly, right now I'm only using one, and it's the one that came in the palette, and it's like dual-sided, because I'm only really playing with two shades. Even if I wanted to add a shimmer, I'd probably just use my finger, just like going on top of it. You can keep looking at it and just being like, okay, is it perfect? Is it just right? Period. Look at that. This side needs a little bit more on the coral on the bottom. Yeah. I have like this like zooming mirror that I'll put like a little bit of shadow and I think it's fine. But then I'll look at the camera and I'm like, did you even put any on? No, I didn't. Okay. And then without grabbing really much shadow, I'm placing it on the tear duct. And you might think, well, if you want to put a shimmer there, aren't like, what? Once you put the shimmer on, it's all going to be perfectly blended because I hate when I put shimmer and there's like a little bit of gap between the shadow and the shimmer. And I'm like, I want to go in with like a little tiny brush and blend that in together. How long did it take you to learn how to do makeup? I'm still honestly learning how to do makeup. So don't think that you'll ever like know every single thing about it. Like I'm always playing with it. I always look back like 6 months ago and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this or I wish I would have done that. My makeup style's always changing. Like sometimes I like this kind of eye look, or sometimes I like this type of foundation look, or you know, I feel like the beauty industry is always really changing. So I feel like me learning about makeup is always it's always like I'm always learning, if that makes sense. So if that helps, I hope that helps in the way of don't feel scared and think that, oh, I don't know everything because you never really will. And makeup is supposed to be fun. You know, as long as you're having fun with it and it makes you feel pretty, that's all that matters. You know, even if you're wearing like the wrong shades or whatever, why does it matter? As long as you feel pretty, like that's the whole point of makeup. It's supposed to make you feel like confident when you like leave your home or when you just want to hang out with yourself and you're like, I just want to feel literally sometimes I'll just do my makeup when I'm just hanging out just at home because I'll like I'll like walking past the mirror and I'm like, why you look so pretty? I do that why? Because I'm single and I gotta think I'm pretty. But honestly, if I even if I was in a relationship, at the end of the day, I gotta make sure that I think I'm pretty. Okay. Do I want to add more? See, this is like what happens when you're like having fun with makeup. It's like, do I want to like add more? Hmm. Let me add some bronzer first. Okay, because and I can kind of come back to the eye. I need to like add more color to the face because sometimes that's what happens, you know. Um, you'll do a look and then you're like, did I do enough? And then you'll add other things and you're like, it was perfect. It was perfect. That's so encouraging. Yay. Yeah, don't be scared. Like, please do not be scared of makeup. I always tell people, especially like my favorite one is like eyeliner. People are like, how do you do your eyeliner? And I'm like, girl, just like have an eyeliner right by like in your bathroom, right by your skincare, like right before you're about to wash your face and practice doing your liner because you're about to wash your face anyway. So if you do it wrong, it's fine. You're gonna wash it off. But doing something consistently is only naturally gonna make you more comfortable and more understanding of it. It's not gonna make you better, but you aren't gonna be as scared. You know, you're gonna be able to create those lines a lot easier as opposed to like, okay, I only do wing liner once a week. But when I do it that once a week, I want it to look bomb. So let me practice the other days when I don't need to have it on. So that when I do need to have it on, I like it's a lot more effortless. It's really in the wrist, and that's what you have to get comfortable with. It's like that's to me the one that took me the longest, and that's how I started to learn how to do liner. Even to this day, it's just because I have really shaky hands, so sometimes I can't do liner. You know. Okay, so for bronzer, this I'm so excited about because Kosas has been one of my like new kind of favorite up and coming brands. Look at these bronzers. They look delicious. So Kosas, I found out about Kosas because they do it's like this super popular like face oil. And it's like a tinted face oil that's supposed to be kind of like a foundation, BB cream, like it's delicious. It makes the skin feel so nice. Especially if you have dry skin, it's gonna work wonders for you. If you have oily skin, I wouldn't primarily focus it on the T-zone, but placing it here because I get a little bit of discoloration here when it comes to like either an ingrown hair or a pimple that I'll get like around here. That'll be perfect for that. And then you just keep this area because it looks like skin. Okay. That's not even the product I'm talking about. Okay. I'm talking about their bronzers for today. Like I'm obsessed with the packaging. The formula is delicious. It's like this mineralized, like it looks like a planet. Look how pretty that is. And it has like a shimmer to it. So delicious. This is the shade Light. And then we have this shade. This is the shade Medium. It's like a little bit deeper. Let me see. What brush? This, I am going to have to use a different brush. Okay. I want to use No, I don't want to use that one. I want to use something like this. Yes. Okay. So I want to use something like this. Well, maybe more rounded. This one? Or this? Oh, this one. Okay. So I want to do something like this. Something more round. No, do I want to do that? I feel like I want something longer. I'm going to do this one. Or maybe I could do this, like a fan brush. Like a fan brush could be kind of pretty, right? Yeah, let's do a fan brush. So I'm going to be using this fan brush. And I think I'm going to start off with light first, just to see the level of pigment. Oh my God. Okay, they said pigment. Good thing I started with that. Okay. And we're going to start with just placing it. And the reason why I'm using a fan brush is because it hugs my cheekbones so deliciously. And I'm working up motions. Like, should I cover my... See, if I cover the black shade... You know what? Let me do this. Let me take that off so that I can wear this. See, that's why you always have to have robes right next to you, because you never know when you're going to need a robe. So much better. Oh, that was totally my bad. I knew it was my bad, too. Okay, look. No bronzer. Bronzer. You see how I like... See, like, we're going to put a little bit there. Carrying it into that hairline area. Okay, this side. Damn, that pigment is bomb, dude. See, I wanted to have more of like a hugging effect. Oh, and it has such a beautiful sheen. See, I don't even think I'm going to have to need highlight. Like, this is so delicious. It's accentuating almost my skin's like natural glow with the little bit of shimmer that's in there. And see how I'm carrying it into kind of like the brow area right there? Just to connect those browns, those neutrals. Okay, now a little bit on the forehead. I have such a good head of hair. I'm thinking out loud, you guys. Don't judge me, okay? I was looking at it right now. I was like, damn, it's like, oh my God. Sometimes, honestly, like, since I was in high school, I've always been scared that I was going to go bald, because I've always had kind of like a big forehead. And okay, if some of y'all are only finding me because of the Verishop app, you might not know who I am. So that's fine. But I had an eyebrow transplant. And that means that they took hair from the back of my head and put it here, right? Because I didn't really have eyebrows. Like, it just, like, that was my thing. Gabriel doesn't have brows. No brow having ass Gabriel. So then I didn't have eyebrows. And I felt like my forehead was even bigger. I was like, oh my gosh. So I was just thinking, I'm like, damn, am I going to go bald? And I think that's everybody's fear, especially men, you know? Like, come on, girls. Like, I'm still a guy, you know? That's still my fear. But no, my hair hasn't fallen off. Gracias a Dios. It still hasn't fallen off. Okay, so then I haven't really been into overly contouring my nose. I just kind of like use the bronzer that I generally have and see, like, I'll do this. Like, I don't know why. Because sometimes you're like, oh, dude, I'm in a hurry. Like, I don't want to spend 5-10 minutes like contouring and detailing my nose. Like, honestly, I just like, I want my nose to look like refined, if that makes sense. So just adding a little bit of bronzer just here on top, it kind of keeps it here, which is perfect because you don't want it here. Okay, you don't want it here. You see how it's here, so it's like making my nose just like more refined because it has foundation, it has concealer, it has powder. You don't want it to look like lost. You know, you want to add dimension back into the face. When we were talking about lighting and gradients, that's the thing. See, so you see how the eye pops now more? It might be because I fixed the lighting situation. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to show you all the bronzer on here.